Hey everybody, it's Nick here with you. Welcome back to the Rock Squad channel and welcome to the rock album review for the third studio album from UK rockers Royal Blood. It's called Typhoons. Typhoons is a follow-up to 2017's How Did We Get So Dark, an album that I really loved. I love their debut album as well from 2014. And Royal Blood is one of my favorite rock bands in the world today. They combine all the elements that I love about good rock music. They got the big drums, courtesy of Ben Thatcher. He's fantastic. And they got the big bass guitar. I've been calling it bass and guitar combination, courtesy of Mike Kerr, who's a great vocalist as well. These guys know how to write great songs, great melodies. So they combine everything that I love about rock music, and I love the songs that we've heard so far from this record. I think we've heard four singles before the record actually came out, and this is one of my most anticipated albums of the year so far. And I'm happy to say that Typhoons is awesome. Yeah, this album is fantastic. We already heard a bunch of songs from the record, and I'm happy to say the new stuff that we hear on Typhoons is absolutely fantastic. It cements this album already as one of my favorites of 2021. So for this review, just like every other rock album review we do here on the channel, I'm going to put the songs in the plus column and the minus column. The plus column being the songs that I really dug, and the minus column being the songs that I didn't really dig. And the thing about Typhoons that is different from most of the other rock album reviews that we do here on the channel is there's no songs in the minus column on this one for me. All right, so let's get to it. The songs on Typhoons. It kicks off with the song Trouble's Coming, which is the first single from the record. We've heard this one before. It's been out for a while. I've been rocking this one in the car for a while now. And I know that Royal Blood received a little bit of flack from some of their fans over the overall dance rock vibe that they're going for on Typhoons. They've decided to kick things up a notch in the funk and dance category, which is absolutely fine with me because it doesn't feel like they're really sacrificing much in the rock department. This has a great riff on it on Trouble's Coming. It's funky, it's catchy, it's a killer rock single, and probably still my favorite of the four singles that we heard before the release of the entire album. Got a killer breakdown in the middle as well. So even though it's a bit old for us, we've heard it already for a couple of months now, still a song in the plus column. Trouble's Coming kicks off this album in style. Then we get to the second song from the record, which is one that we hadn't heard before Typhoons was released today, which is called Oblivion, which is in the same vein as Trouble's Coming. It's got a huge riff. Really, really dig the chorus on this one. Got a little bit of a funkier beat, but still a great rock track and a dance floor shaker. I actually was listening to this album right as it came out last night at midnight. I was streaming it on Spotify, and I felt like getting up and dancing a few times. I didn't really do it. I was here alone in my little music room here, but I felt like dancing, and Oblivion was definitely a song in the plus column for me. And then we get to the third track on the album. It's called Typhoons. It is the title track, and it's very much in the similar kind of vein as Trouble's Coming and Oblivion. It's a dance rock track with a lot of heavy bass guitar, as I call it. I'm sure somebody else has coined that term before, but Mike Kerr's bass guitar still a huge part of their sound on this song and the record overall. Ben Thatcher's drums are huge. Love the falsetto vocals on the chorus. Love the video for this song that came out a couple of months back. So definitely a winner for me. Love Typhoons. And then we get to one of my favorite songs on the record. It's called Who Needs Friends. This one just kicked ass right out of the gate. It just burst out of my speakers last night. As I was saying, I was listening to this album just as it came out last night at midnight on Spotify. I had it cranked up pretty loud, and then Typhoons Faded Away, which is a song, like I said, we're already familiar with Typhoons. And then this one, just immediately right out of the gate, I was like, man, that sounds fat. That sounds thick. It's got those fat drums from Ben. Immediately started headbanging. Had some killer cowbell on it. Who doesn't love cowbell? You know, Don't Fear the Reaper style. Great melody. Could have been on the last record as well. It has that dancey vibe, but a little bit more rock leaning than some of the earlier tracks on the record. So cool breakdown in it as well. Cool vocals from Mike Kerr. This song just kicks so much ass and might be my favorite on the record. Who Needs Friends is awesome. Then we get to another song in the plus column, which all of them are in the plus column. I think I'm already kind of telegraphing my review and what the score I'm going to give for this record. But Million and One, killer riff on this one. Again, this album is just stacked with killer riffs. Got some fun synth on it as well. These guys are including some different musical elements, different textures on this album than they have in the past. Soulful vocals from Mike Kerr. He always writes great melodies. I love his voice. he's in a hard rock band, but his voice is very soft. It's very gentle. It's very melodic, and I really like that. And I feel like the melodies that he's writing on this record have hit new heights, and his voice sounds great as well. So $1,000,001, another winner on Typhoons. Then we get to another single from the record. It's called Limbo, probably my least favorite of the songs that we heard before Typhoons came out. Still a solid track, some solid bass guitar on this one. Drags a bit towards the end. This is the longest song on the record. It's almost 5 minutes long. So still a cool track. They use more keys on this one, which again is a continuation of the different textures and the different sounds that they're adding to that overall rock and roll sound that they have on this album. So even though it's my least favorite of the singles, and maybe one of my least favorite songs on the album, it's still a solid track, and I really dug Limbo. Then we get to another one of my favorite tracks on this record. It's called Either You Want It. It was another song that last night when I was listening, coming out of Limbo, another song that, familiar with, came out of the speakers, just completely burst out of the speakers in the best way possible when I was listening to this one. And it's actually a little bit different for Royal Blood, different for this record. It's got a swinging, almost Latin-esque kind of beat. Poppiest song on the album for sure, but it broke up the vibe overall for the record nicely. I love the melody on this one. And after you have all these really, really heavy hitting rock tracks, this one still hits pretty heavy as well. It was nice to have a little bit of a break, and I really appreciated them tackling something different on Either You Want It. Coming in the plus column as well as the fourth single from Typhoons that we heard before the record came out. And that one's Boilermaker, produced by Josh Homme of Queens of the Stone Age. And you can feel his touch on this song, especially on the guitars, and maybe the overall bounce of the song, the overall vibe, and the overall groove of the song feels a little bit Queens of the Stone Age to me as well. Very danceable, very bouncy. It still rocks, but it's got a good dance beat to it as well. I love the falsetto vocals going into the chorus, and the rock out near the end of the song is good as well. So I really, really enjoyed this one, and one that I've cranked up multiple times in the lead up to Typhoons. And now that we've heard the whole record, I really enjoy Boilermaker. All right, there's only a few more tracks left on Typhoons. Mad Vision, love the bass riff on this song, falsetto vocals in the chorus, really, really soulful. That's something that I enjoyed on this album, maybe more so than past Royal Blood albums, is the soulful influence on the vocals and the melodies. Another really solid rock song. The band is really cooking on this song. Mike and Ben they're a great little duo. When it comes to rock duos, I'm a little bit hit or miss. I think we mentioned this on the podcast recently, but White Stripes, Black Keys, I like that kind of thing. But I think Royal Blood takes the rock duo thing to a new level for me. And this song could have been a little bit like a Troubles Coming rewrite. Some of the songs can get a bit samey on the record here and there. I'm not complaining. I love every single song, but it does have a little bit of that vibe. And the drums on this song really pump. Ben's doing a good job on this one. Awesome backup vocals in the middle jam. So really enjoyed Mad Visions. And then I was listening to the album last night, and there was a transition into this next song that I didn't really notice, into Hold On, from Mad Visions into Hold On. I didn't know when it changed, but that was a good thing. It felt like a really cool transition from one song into the next. I don't know if that was completely intentional on behalf of Royal Blood, but was something that I really appreciated. And on this one, it's almost like Royal Blood are reaching Daft Punk levels of dance. It's electronic, it's rock, it's a little bit in between. The way that they made the drums and the bass guitar, or the guitar from Mike Kerr, sit on this song really reminded me of Daft Punk, and I really, really enjoyed it. This album sounds so thick and so fat. It's amazing. Then we get to the last song on the record. It's called All We Have Is Now, and this is very different for Royal Blood in comparison to their past albums, even in comparison to the rest of this album. It's a piano finale. It was completely unexpected, and it was completely surprising when you listen to the rest of the record, but it was a very cool song, very almost Britpop, which is not something that I really expected. I know that Royal Blood are a UK band, but they've never really struck me as being very Britpop influenced. But the vocal on the song from Mike Kerr was incredible. So even though it's very much a different vibe, it doesn't rock in the traditional sense like the rest of the record does. It was a great closer to Typhoons. So really, really enjoyed All We Have Is Now, and really, really enjoyed Typhoons. Yeah, and there are no songs in the minus column on this one. So I guess you can tell that I really enjoyed the new record from Royal Blood called Typhoons. As I said, it can be a little bit samey at times. I guess that is really true of most bands. If you have a very specific kind of sound that you don't venture out of too much. Even though Royal Blood are doing dancier stuff on this one, the last track is a piano track. It is still very much a dance rock record. So depending on how far your mileage goes with Royal Blood, that might go a little bit further for you. But I really enjoyed it either way. I really enjoyed all the songs on this record, and it kept surprising me with songs that really popped and made the album flow well. I'm sorry, guys, about the sun coming in. It made the album flow really, really well, because even though I've heard a bunch of the songs from this record already, there was a bunch of songs that really popped out to me and really, really made me appreciate the whole album as a whole. And I'm glad that I didn't hear everything on this album, because there was still some stuff left to surprise me. And Royal Blood didn't really disappoint. I feel like there's not really any filler on here. I feel like every song was super solid, and they took what Royal Blood does and they took it to the next step. They kept that heavy rock vibe, but they added in some dancier beats. They added in some funkier stuff, some more synths, some soulful vocals, and I really like that combination. So I would have to say it's nonstop bangers on Typhoons, and a lot of these songs could have been singles. The 4 songs they released already were fantastic, but I feel like they could have released some of these other songs as singles, and they would have been just fine. So I'm sure they'll still release a couple more songs from Typhoons as we get into the actual release of the album and their marketing campaign. So you know what? Sounds great. The record produced very well. It's a thick record, bassy, melodic. It's fantastic. So I'm going to give the new album from Royal Blood, it's called Typhoons, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. That's right. I love this record. Let me know what you thought of the new album from Royal Blood called Typhoons in the comments below. Make sure to like this video. We would appreciate that. Make sure to hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on our videos. And make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on more rock album reviews. I got a rock albums ranked video coming up for Weezer next week in advance of their new album called Van Weezer, which comes out next Friday. And me and my good friend Dave Marini have the Rock Squad podcast here on the channel and on every podcast service, wherever you get your podcast. If you want to listen to audio form, we have the podcast that we're doing every week. Rock Squad, the latest in rock music news, reviews, and discussion. We're doing it every week, and we're talking rock music. So if that's something that you dig, we would love for you to join us on the podcast, or and however however fashion you want to engage with us. We would appreciate that. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Rock Squad Pod. We'll see you again for the podcast and for another rock album review. We'll see you next time.